Well, as you may have noticed, it's been a little while since I put out a video. I was working on a video where I was going to tell you all about how I just started on methylphenidate and how it was really improving my life, but something went wrong. So I did start methylphenidate. Technically, this would have been day 8 of taking methylphenidate. Today, this morning, I should have been taking a slightly higher dose. I started on 18 milligrams, and today would have been the day I start 36. But I didn't. I've been taken off methylphenidate because of the side effects. I know a lot of these videos are people telling you how great the meds are, and some of these videos are going to be people telling you how terrible they are. Now, I still completely believe in the drugs that they give for ADHD. I completely believe that they can change people's lives, and I completely want to move on to whatever the next drug is they recommend. It's just that methylphenidate didn't work for me. So I thought I'd make a video about what those failings were. Now, the number one thing, the side effect that meant that I had to stop taking methylphenidate was I had a general apathy toward everything. Now, the trouble with ADHD is that you've got this constant distraction. There are constantly things going on in your head. And that all went away. I mean, day one, the first thing I noticed is my anxiety levels just dropped. My blood pressure dropped. My pulse rate went up, but, I was taking stimulants. But I found that I was much calmer. And then I realized I didn't care about anything. I did a couple of videos. I'll include those after this. But I just stopped. Why bother? Nothing seemed to matter anymore. Now, at first I thought I'd get used to this, but I got to day 7 yesterday, and I realized I was about to go up to the next stage. I was about to take a higher dose, and I hadn't got used to it. There was a feeling like being hollow or not really being there. And I thought that would pass. I thought I'd get used to it. I thought, this is just what normal people have. Because I've had this all my life, apparently, I don't know what is normal. So I thought the silence in my head, 100 thoughts running through my head, and suddenly I have one at a time. One single thought. And if that thought goes away, it's just gone. If I have a thought and I think, I don't want to deal with that right now, it just fades away. And I thought that was great. Except I realized that even if I wanted that thought, even if I wanted to be excited about something, I couldn't. Now, that went from food and drink. I'd have a moment where I think, there's food. I need to eat food. And then I just wouldn't do it. I've eaten 2 o'clock in the afternoon a couple of times this week, just because that's how long it took me to realize that I had food. Or just not wanting to do anything. I haven't been recording videos. Normally I would have been really excited about recording new videos. This week, no recording, no editing. But that's okay. Everything's fine. And that's not me. I could say that's not me with ADHD, but I mean, that's not me. I have passions. I do get excited. It's affected my relationship with my wife. We'll keep this PG-13, or PG in this country. But, yeah, lost interest in everything. Secondary things, well, I wasn't sleeping. Oddly, I was relaxed. I could get to sleep in the evening. As long as I got to sleep early enough, I could sleep. I'd lie down, no racing thoughts, you see. So without 100 thoughts in my head, I'm not distracted from sleeping. So I'd sleep. And then I'd wake up. The slightest thing in the morning would wake me up. Slightest thing. So next door I have I think he's a graphic designer. And what he does is he gets up an hour before my alarm. 3/4 of an hour before my alarm, he starts setting up his workroom. His home office is apparently the bedroom on the other side of a wall from mine. And at 9 o'clock, he tends to have loud business meetings over Zoom or some other service like that. So I found that half an hour before my alarm, suddenly someone's having a loud conversation next to my head. Now, I think I've been able to sleep through this for, well, weeks. I think he only moved in a couple of months ago. But now, I can't. So that's another thing that was really upsetting me. I really wake up very easily. I've got earplugs, I've got an eye mask, but I seem to be really sensitive to things that wake me up in the morning because I'm just not in a deep enough sleep. I used to be in a really deep sleep in the morning, and then just this last week I haven't been. Other than that, I haven't really noticed any major problems. You know, as I say, one of the things I had to check on was my pulse rate, my blood pressure. So my pulse rate went up, but I already have a naturally low pulse rate, so oh no, my pulse rate got into the 70s a couple of times. My blood pressure dropped, but not to a dangerous level, just, you know, without the anxiety. I think I've just been very, very chilled out. Now, I do have a quite sedentary lifestyle, so my blood pressure is higher than it should be, and that's just a factor of the ME. The ME did not get affected by this. I didn't suddenly find myself being, you know, filled with energy and able to cope. I was still exhausted all day. My cyclothymia, you know, type of bipolar disorder, also not affected. You know, I was a little worried that I might get a bit of hypomania, but I didn't. So I think overall, it is just that crushing apathy. So I contacted the titration team, the people who deal with drugs and the drug side effects. And I was immediately told, stop taking the drugs. We need to give you 24 to 72 hours. So I'm recording this on Friday, and on Monday, I need to contact them again. But they want time for the drugs to leave my system for me to feel normal again so that I can compare the two and maybe write about what happened. But yeah, they said my brain seems to be producing too much dopamine, and too much dopamine is making me apathetic. That's not a great thing. I was really hoping these drugs would help. But I do know that there are other drugs, you know, lisdexamfetamine, although given that my brain's producing too much dopamine, they might not want to put me on another stimulant. But there are also other drugs that they can give me that aren't stimulants. So I'm wondering whether maybe one of those will help. There were a lot of good things about being on this medication. I felt calmer. That there are some, you know, if you have ADHD yourself, you know that there's a sense of impulsiveness. You have a thought, and before you've really considered the thought, you've acted on it, you've done something. And at first, that first day, it was, I have the thought, and then I pause, and then I choose to act on it, or choose not to act on it. And that's weird and alien to me. But within a couple of days, it was, I have a thought, and my brain is slow and doesn't really want to process that thought. And by the time it's processed that thought, it's a bit late, or it would be a bit weird. You know, the stimulus is gone, the action would be inappropriate, so just move on. In terms of my personal life, I have had no work. I've done no work this entire week. I found that I could just about focus on playing computer games, and that's all I've done for a week. Just tried to focus my attention on playing a game, because at least it's a thing that occupies my mind. I suppose the only other thing is, the loss of anxiety, the loss of racing thoughts. So I would have 100 thoughts going through my head, and not all of them positive. And yet, now they're not there. So I've lost some of the positive thoughts. I've lost that spark of excitement, but I've also lost that stab of fear, lost all the self-loathing, which, you know, is a good thing. I'm not happy, I'm just numb. Or as I put it, I went from distracted to disinterested. But it's not all bad. The bad went away, but so did the good. I need to find something that can take the bad away and maybe add in the good. Even if it's a little bit muted, I want to have an interest in my wife again. And, I think that's probably going to kick in the next few days. Maybe I'll get back to my old self. They said 24 to 72 hours. Well, I took my last dose yesterday morning. It's an all-day dose, so, if we talk about when it will wear off, we're probably talking about in the evening. So, by tomorrow evening, it will have been 48 hours, a kind of median value between 24 and 72. And I don't know whether you've noticed, but I've managed to record this entire video in one take. Now, this is not something I've been finding easy for quite a while. Normally, when I record a video, normally I do find that there are a whole load of jump cuts because I can't get my head straight. I have to keep stopping myself, getting back on track. But right now I'm not sidetracked. I'm just talking about my experiences. I do apologize if this is a bit of a long video. This video is going to be a bit longer than I was expecting it to be. Apologies for rambling. But I just want to cover what's happening with me and, what it's like when the drugs don't work. So, again, this isn't drugs are bad. This is just, here is one drug that didn't work for me. And I think we see so many people going, oh no, the drugs are terrible. I took this drug and it turned me into a zombie. Okay, it was a bit of a zombie, but I think other drugs might not do that to me. Or they're going, this is the best thing since sliced bread. I've never had a better experience in my life. I was a completely different person. And to be fair, talking to other people with ADHD about their experiences with the drugs, a lot of things I was experiencing were things they found normal. They weren't things that, the core things. The loss of anxiety, the suddenly being much calmer. I've just been pushed too far. I haven't just lost the anxiety. I've lost, I suppose, a certain degree of anxiety. Not anxiety, but, there are certain emotions. And when they get too powerful, they're anxiety. And I just don't have enough of it. The things that get stuff done. I lost my drive. I lost my desire to do anything. And that is not a great thing. The titration team were quite clear that if 18 milligrams does it to me, they don't want me to be on 36 or 54. For those of you who take Ritalin, those are equivalent to 5 and 10. Not equivalent to 15 and 30 milligrams of Ritalin at a time. This is the slow release. So it's 18 milligrams across an entire day. I suppose I should probably end this video here. If you are considering getting some help for your ADHD, please do keep considering it. Please keep trying. These drugs work for most people. It's just that in my case, I have other comorbidities. They may be what's contributing to this. My body just didn't seem to like the methylphenidate. So we'll have to see what happens in the coming weeks. Hopefully on Monday, I'll start recording my new video. At the very least, on Monday, I'll know what they've decided to prescribe me. Well, thank you for coming with me this far. If you did find this useful and you think other people might actually benefit from seeing someone talk about what happens when the drugs aren't perfect, then please like this video, share this video, subscribe. Those 3 things tell the YouTube algorithm that this particular video is good, that this particular video needs to be shown to more people. So, even if you subscribe and turn off all notifications, at least YouTube knows that you found this useful, that you think this is something other people need to know about. So I apologize. So I apologize if I do seem a little subdued in this video, but yeah, I'm just drugged up to the eyeballs and waiting for it all to wear off. And I really hope that you all have a much better experience than I did. And, well, to be fair, I hope I have a much better experience with the next drug that they offer. So thank you all for staying with me this. Thank you all for staying with me this long, and I hope to see you next time there's a video. Goodbye.